A journey, a reading, and a prayer.
Well,
Prayer
a prayer.
meditation.
There are quite a few. John O'Donoghue. I recently read something which was very important to me. However, I must refer to something that happened to me. It was a dream that connected to a reading. I let myself read a few, possibly hours later or possibly at the same time. And it was in the book of Eckhart Tolle,
Yeah.
A New Earth. I was in Australia, South Australia, and I was living in a very beautiful home. It was a retreat. And I woke after a dream that was quite distressing again. I was somewhere on land and there was a group of monk seals coming closer to land. And they wanted to reach the shores. And it was almost like they came to the shore. It was a dream that I had experienced, which was very real for me. And then a little while later when I woke, I opened the page to Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. There was a specific page which was about how we have all come from the sea in a time of radical crisis. We need to come to understand that we all need to travel through, whether it's the sea, on land, or any other form, to transform. That's the reason. And then later on, while I was in Australia, I remember talking about the place I was living. It was a whaling community where they used to kill whales there. So there was a lot of energy that was coming together in this. So I think that if there's a journey or a reading, it must be that reading. The channel of my understanding was connected to exactly somehow the flow of my inner purpose or our inner purpose, not my inner purpose, is connected to the things that I'm doing. So I can only really go with the readings that I have within me. And then they are somehow confirmed by readings that I see in other people's work. So we are connected in that way. We are in sync. And when this crisis of Lesbos took place in 2015, that's when I was in this huge dilemma thinking, what is going on? People are questioning whether this should be happening, whether people should be traveling through water to come to safety. Yes, at the beginning, I understand it was because of war and because of conflict, just like sea life and the mammals came out of water and we transformed ourselves. And from, we had gills and then we started walking on land. Okay, people also came from out of the water in a desperate state and transformed themselves, and they had to start adapting to a new community, which is Europe, Lesbos. Yes, in many ways. And so what I saw in the people's reactions, not from the people of Lesbos, I mean from the rest of the world, was the failure for them to understand that we've also come from a very similar situation. And we didn't pull together for Lesbos. It took the international community some maybe 10 months later to act. Up until then, Lesbos, being the frontier island of Europe, stood its ground and supported these people and put all their own interests to the side to help and to do something. And then years later, now we're talking about 2020, 2020, we are on Lesbos in a situation that we don't know tomorrow if we can even stay here. Family businesses are closing, people are leaving. And we also know of the last 2 or 3 weeks that there are a lot of non-governmental organizations that were part of trafficking these people across. We're not talking about the first wave. We're talking about subsequent waves of people trading people to fundraise, to bring money into their own pockets so they can have some sort of meaning in their own lives to exist. And it's disgraceful to have trafficked so many people. So many other people have lost their lives. or their livelihoods. They will not be able to pay their rent or their bills today, tomorrow, next year. Those people that stood the ground here. And it's Europe's failure to pull together to help communities like these vulnerable island communities that are here standing on the ground. And then when it came time to take some of these people, we're talking about people, to their own countries, they shut the borders. And I don't want to mention the countries that did it. We know the countries that did it and the people that made those choices. So we go back to the idea of choice. We have a choice to work together, or we have a choice to be divided. It's not so difficult. Caring for what is going on in front of us. That's why, also for me, I'm caring. You know, I happen to have this property in front of me. It happens to be this beautiful ant reef, Ayos, which is home to this beautiful seabird, which is endangered and critically endangered, or the monk seals, which have caves. So we have to take care of the things that are in front of us. Otherwise, we choose to be ignorant. And we have to save ourselves from being ignorant if we want to have a perpetual planet.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.